Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about why do we fail interviews. I'm sure you have failed, I have failed. If you haven't failed, then you will at some point. It means you haven't been taking a lot of interviews, but everybody fail interview. And after every single interview, we kind of recollect of what really happened and why do we fail interviews. So today we're going to talk about it, the reasons, the remedies, how do we improve our skills so that we don't make the same mistakes over and over. Okay, so have you been to an interview where when you come out of it, you feel like you have answered every single question? You go home excited and you have invested in this particular company, you feel good about it. You wait for the phone call. The same day you don't get the call, you may think, oh yeah, maybe just still thinking, right? And the next day you still don't get the call, and then few days pass and then you like kind of worry that, okay, should I call them back? Do I look desperate? But eventually you call them back, and then you hear the bad news that you were not selected. You wonder what really went wrong. What did I do wrong? And that happens to best of us. That could be multiple reasons, and so let's go through all the reasons and the remedies. And again, I have a lot of knowledge interviewing. I do a lot of interviews for my company. I should say I have been rejected, and I have rejected a lot of people as well. So I have a lot of knowledge in terms of why certain things happen. So let's look at the first reason. The first reason is your interview went really well, but the company is interviewing a bunch of other people. They have a bit better candidate. Okay, when I say bit better, it's in their opinion, and it may be in not terms of what the answer of the questions were, but in terms of just behaviorally, right? They like the personality of the person, or something about them, okay, that was a little better than they think you have. And usually that is the case. If you have two candidates, they're very much alike, then they would pick the one that they feel most comfortable with, that they can easily talk to. And if they find that person, then they would give an offer. Sometimes they also go with a slightly weaker candidate, but the one that they like. It's unfair, but it's their company, their decision. You have to accept it and move on, because there are so many other opportunities. Now, how do you prepare for it? So how do you make them feel comfortable? You can prepare all you want, you can answer all the correct answers, but how do you make them feel comfortable? I see a lot of stiff people. When somebody attends an interview, I see the posture. They are like very stiff, they're very serious. They're, in their head, they're thinking too much and not smiling enough. And you can see they're not comfortable, and it's all about psychology in the end. And when you see somebody extremely stiff and who's not smiling and is too serious answering all the question, they automatically assume that these people are not going to be comfortable working with. This is how they are going to be when they work here. So they automatically, in their mind, sort of start to imagine that, and it's not very good feeling. So have a bit of humor. Not Don't go overboard. Start telling jokes and stuff, but smile. Be relaxed. Be natural. Be relaxed, lively. Talk other stuff beyond work, and that might achieve that second likely. And they might feel comfortable with you, and you will get a little edge over the other stiff candidates. Now let's look at a second reason. Let's say you answer all your answers correctly, but sometime interviewer has a specific answer in mind. No matter what you give them, they're not going to accept it, and you cannot do anything about it because they have made up their mind. Why do they do that? We don't know, but this is what it is, and you can't do anything about it, and you can't really argue about it. What you can do is, if they say, oh, this is not the answer I expected, or oh, the answer is different, then you can make your point by saying, these are the reason why I think this is the right answer or reasonably right answer. Okay. Because there could be multiple answers to the one question. Things are often not black and white as we all think. So we can give all our reason and let them make their decision. Then they might change their mind saying, oh, I never thought about this way, and this guy has explained me in a different way, in an innovative way, and this guy is thinking outside the box. So they might give you a chance and benefit a doubt from that. But make your point, and if they still cannot accept your answer, move on. You do not want to argue with that person. You do not want to say I'm right and you're wrong. That means you are automatically rejected. They're not gonna like somebody who go in a conflict with them. But you do like people who can actually make their point and try to convince you their point of view, but they don't push their point of view on you, and so which is very important. Third reason is sometimes interviewers are not very good interviewers. They don't have the skills required to interview. So, for example, when somebody brings an interview panel, there might be few people who are not experienced at interviews. So, when it comes to them, they don't know what to ask. They might ask unfair questions. They haven't even thought about this question. Can the interview finish this question in time? They might just randomly pick a question from the internet and ask you, and they expect the right answer. And often what happens, let's say, and from the entire panel, let's say one person is never happy with any candidates, right? Then the manager probably realize that there is something wrong with that because everybody else is excited, but that person is somehow never happy with any candidates, and they might evaluate the questions that he or she asking, and then they might come to a conclusion that this is probably an unfair question. They might take him off the panel, or he might be forced to change his questions. And so the next interview comes along, he might pass. So, even though they might have interviewed and rejected a lot of good people, those, they just, I would say, were unlucky, because you need also a bit of luck in interview process. A fourth reason, and this only applies to a lot of US companies. So in US, what happens is if you apply for H1 or permanent residence, the company has to prove that they cannot find similar candidate outside. So they are that is why they are hiring immigrant, and that is why they are giving H1 to somebody, right? So what they might do is they have to prove that they have interviewed 5-10 people on this position, and they were unable to find this candidate, so they're going to hire this guy, right, who's already working there. So for that, they might have to reject all these people, and so the interviews might be just I guess a sham, I should say. They would just interview 5 people, or just call them, do a phone interview, and then reject them right off. And if you're one of those guys who get rejected, then you'll be like, okay, what really happened here? And you have no idea that this was a setup, and you can't do anything about it. This is what it is. And you wouldn't even know that this was the case because they won't really tell you, right? But anyway, these are the 4 reasons that I came up with. I'm sure you might have different reason, and I would like to know what are your reasons. If you have interviewed and rejected people for certain reasons, even though they are good, let me know, and I would love to share with the audience so they have the full picture. And when they go for and when you go for an interview, remember, it doesn't matter what kind of interview is, just go prepare. Think about, you need to smile a little bit. You need to be relaxed. Doesn't matter how tough the interview is, and have a bit of a fun, and then your mind will be free. You'll be able to answer a question much more freely. And I hope you learned something from this video. And if you did, please like, subscribe, and provide a nice comment. And by the way, this is my second channel. My first channel is TechSit. I provided a link here. Please check it out where I teach front-end programming. If you get a chance, please translate this video for me to your native language so people from your country can also learn.